can't hear you on stream. They can hear me. Okay. Technical difficulties, everyone. Yep. Change your input device, maybe.
I think they can. Yeah. Okay, that worked. That's so frustrating. It does it periodically. Welcome, everyone, to. We're really, keeping it real here. I just want to say, like I'm doing a good job of keeping it real. Welcome to AOS Trash Pandas. And if you're not sure why it's called that, now you know. It wasn't my fault. It said line 2 USB audio codec. And then, but sometimes, man, sometimes this program, it's not my favorite, but it's the best I have. So it was not on mute, Mr. Robin, man killer. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Danny, Robin, Kiki. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys. So tonight we've got kind of a special show. I'm assuming no one has read the title, so I'm just going to leave it a secret. We'll also be talking about the Warhammer reveals, and I think there was something else. Carson, do you remember?
What? Something else?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me. 1 second here.
Oh.
There we go. I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden ticket. So yes, I went to Kipper's Melee over the weekend, and that was a golden ticket Age of Sigmar event, and I ended up winning, which is awesome. So I will be going to Atlanta, Georgia for the Age of Sigmar World Championships next month. So if anyone's going to be there, I'll see you there.
Heck yeah. That's so exciting. Congrats again. I've already said it a million times to you, but Charlie does have his golden ticket, Kiki. Absolutely. He'll be seeing the Oompas, also the Loompas, and it's going to be great. It's going to be really cool. So before we get to that, we'll go through some of the other news. There is clearly a very AOS rumor engine on stream right now. Did you see this rumor engine?
I did. I think it's a Caradron Overlord's bidet.
A bidet. That could be.
Yeah.
I was going to say a Caradron Overlord's. No, I can't say that on stream. It's for cleaning things.
Cleaning void space.
Exactly. Gosh, dang it. Yeah. So moving right along. So we also had Warhammer Fest during this weekend, and that was pretty exciting. They did it super early, so I did not stay up to watch. But we got a huge big preview of Bretonia in the old world. I put it up top there. I've got the Pegasus Knight guy on stream right now. Really cool sculpts. Like, Bretonia aren't my thing at all, but I know that a lot of people really miss them, and the new sculpts, like, for what they are really nice. Did you get a chance to see them?
I did. Bretonia is probably the reason I got into Warhammer as a kid.
What?
Like, my brothers are the reason I got into Warhammer.
Yeah, fair enough.
As I was walking through the store,
yeah,
I distinctly remember seeing one guy who just like painted a full Bretonian army with like all of its different heraldry and stuff, and I'm like
oh,
I want to do that.
Heck yeah! Oh, that's so. Now, yeah, like, and I know you've said that before, but it's hard to keep track of everyone's origin story. And you did your Bretonia like Slaves to Darkness army. I don't know why I didn't remember it. Oh man, so are you excited for this?
I'm not gonna do that.
Oh,
I mean, it's all made of resin. That's the one thing.
I don't think we know about this stuff. I think this stuff is going to be plastic.
All world stuff is going to be resin.
They didn't say that because a lot of these kits are old kits that they've shown.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
either way, I probably still won't, at least for the time being. But yeah. Oh, the meat dimension's got something for me.
oh, the meat dimension.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Trail Hopper IPA.
What is it?
Trail Hopper IPA by Stanley Park.
Ooh, nice. Stanley Park's a good one. They make it.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Oh.
It's a trophy from Kipper's Melee.
Very small trophy. Yeah, those trophies, that like trophy ceremony that someone posted. I know who posted it, but I don't know if they want their name out there. On our club Discord, it was so funny because like it pans over to these small. I thought it was like, I didn't realize it was the trophy. I thought it was like in addition to, you get this nifty pin.
I think it is. So she said that the event organizer said that these are like pins.
Okay.
She wants to see on people's display boards and stuff.
Okay.
And then she mentioned that trophies were delayed, so.
Oh.
I hope I haven't misunderstood that, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Trophies will be like sent out to whoever got them.
Very cool. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so if they're resin, I am right there with you. I'm not a fan of resin. I don't mind it as much when they're designed to be resin, because they just tend to be gluable. You know what I mean? In a way that it works like for that. But like Pegasus Knights and stuff like that, or like a bunch of little guys on foot, I wouldn't want to do that on. I wouldn't want to do that myself. But I'm hoping to maybe do the old world on the channel though. Like Warhammer Fantasy is what got me into Warhammer, and Total War and Skaven not existing in it are the reason why I got back into it. And I do like a bunch of guys in a row, like in ranks and stuff, and that kind of traditional sort of thing. But finally some new FEC models. I didn't think about that. Yeah. People have been making the joke about FEC for ages now. All these Bretonnian models look fantastic. And I never thought to flip that. That's fantastic, Warpstone. Yeah, for when the meat dimension smells like the freezer got unplugged. Oh, man. Special paint printing on one-page rules. That's great. If it was in plastic, really, Danny? Heck yeah. Well, I hope someone does, because I would love to. I definitely want to get into it on the channel. I do have wood elves. I have a lot of wood elves, and a good amount of them are painted. So I'm hoping to do that on the channel. Maybe do like a slow grow for the old world, or maybe might do like 8th edition. And there's like a rumor, like, that I've heard a bunch of times, and Ryan sent me like a screenshot of the what's it called, like the supposedly like the leaked army box list, and like it's just it's kind of a rumor, but it like almost kind of confirms that the rumor that we heard before, that there's going to be a Bretonnia box coming in November for the Battle Force boxes, and a Tomb Kings one as well. So that would be really exciting. I'm not really a Bretonnia guy, but like I could get into Tomb Kings. I'll probably work on Wood Elves.
I think they chose two really good armies, because I know that both of those are like very beloved by a lot of people.
They are. So what happened during the Old World was they weren't as popular. So when they killed off the Old World, they killed off those two armies. But that, like, it's like, I think it's, and also it should be pointed out too that like Bretonnia didn't get any love for like decades or something like that. So if you don't support it, obviously they're not going to be selling as well, and that's obviously what came to be. But I think part of it too, I think they're going to sell really well, and part of that I think is because like it's like that thing where you don't know how much you love something until you let it go. You know what I mean? Like until you miss it or whatever. And so I think that's going to be the case. And yeah, I never collected Tomb Kings, but if they have like a cool army box, I could definitely see getting into them, doing it on the channel. But first it'll be Wood Elves, and because Skaven aren't going to be supported originally. Your only experience with resin is the Squig Gaba, and it was painful. Yeah, dude. Some of those old kits are awful. to put together, and some of them aren't that bad. You just never know what you're gonna get, and some of them are like one piece of resin. Like some of the old Tyrannid stuff, like the old terrain is just literally this giant block of resin, and you don't have to do anything to it. There's like a one huge chunk of like flashing on the bottom, but you just cut it off. It's super easy. Yeah. Custom mix of your resin so it's not brittle. That's pretty cool. You thought the official Warhammer Expo said the old world was February and it took it down. So I did see that, Ladivicus. I can't remember if you're the one who posted that on our Discord. By the way, the Discord link is in the description below. So I looked at the post on the old world, and they were saying that it was not legitimate for some reason. And I can't remember why. So I don't want to like, I don't know how, I don't know. I can't remember why they said that, but I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like give people false hope or whatever. February makes sense though. Like whether or not, like that could be true, even if that isn't real. You know what I mean? Like February kind of makes sense to me. They did say super early next year, right? So yeah, but, and I guess I didn't show these cool. The night guys are really dope, hey? But like, I really hope it's not resin for like stuff like this weird banner thing. Like, good luck to you.
Yeah, those things are gonna snap, like immediately.
Immediately, yeah. It's X, so it could be see it being fake. Yeah. Oh, X is the new thing for Twitter, right?
Yeah.
I literally just post on there. I don't look at anything. Did they say, by the way, does anyone know if they said it's plastic or not? Man, like some of these kits just don't hold up well compared to the new ones. My God. Oh, man. Wow. She looks cool though. Actually, that does hold up. What is my all-time favorite old world army? Very funny, Robin. Moving right along. So they also showed Belthanos here, my buddy. Holy poop, Carson.
He looks fantastic. he looks. I mean, he's like.
My God, yeah.
I really like that they're doing like more Beetle stuff because everyone loves Alariel.
Yep.
And I'm not sure how big this guy's going to be, but it looks like he's like pretty dang big. So
I think
I
so
we're gonna see
too.
a lot of this guy.
I think he's on 120 mil oval, if I had to guess. Yeah, I mean, Kurnoth Hunters are my favorite part of Sylvaneth. Yeah, I love this thing. I like the new Revenant Seekers and Lancers from Sylvaneth as well. His box is going to come with a box of Kurnoth Hunters and bugs. So yeah, I'm picking this guy up. Like Trug, I was like, nah, I'm good. But this guy, oh man. Yeah. Oh, seriously? Yeah. It's Skaven. If Skaven didn't exist in AOS, I wouldn't be playing. Again. They were my first army. They're my first love. Dude, I have Scotch glasses that I made with Skaven stuff on them. I have hoodies that I made. Like I made a hoodie that has like a bunch of Skaven stuff on it. Like I am an absolute fanatic for Skaven. And if I had to pick a second from the old world, I would probably say Wood Elves, even though before I would have said Lizardmen just because, but Wood Elves only exist in the old world, and you know, we have Seraphon in the future here. So yeah, he said same question to you, Carson, for the old world.
Yeah, definitely Bretonians.
Bretonia? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good choice.
Yep.
We could recreate the Lizardmen versus Bretonia 5th edition box set.
That's true.
That'd be cool. That tree would look cooler if he was sitting on it. Other than that, pretty awesome. If he was sitting on the tree, I don't understand, I'm afraid. Yeah, dude. Me too. Absolutely, absolutely love everything about this model. I like I don't know, do you see his feet are like gripped around it, it looks like home.
Yeah, it's like growing around the beetle almost. Yeah,
Oh, it's so cool, man. And like the horn reminds me of Orion. So I started so I read the first Orion book when I was painting wood elves during the pandemic. It's also by Darius Hinks, by the way, who does the Gotrek or the Gotrek series in AOS. My second favorite author ever for Black Library, and man, it's so good. And I read the first one, and so I started reading the second one now too. And I'm gonna have to paint some Sylvaneth, I think, and some maybe some more wood elves. But yeah, sitting on the bug, he's standing. Oh, I see. Well, so I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you, but I think the cool thing is that because he's growing around the beetle, it's like he can stand on it with like ultra sort of dexterity and you know what I mean, and balance. Like he can, it's kind of, I don't know, it's very unique in that way. I get what you're saying though. No, Tony versus Lizardman, the old world, yeah. Like a plot to the new Twilight book. I hope not. I tried to read the first one and it was terrible. Sorry if you like it. So then they showed this guy, Ionis. I forgot his name. Ionis Cryptborn. So I didn't know. Rob, friend of the channel, in the most recent battle report, he's a huge Stormcast fan, and he told me that this guy's actually been around since like the Realmgate Wars, like AOS 1, early days novels. So then they kind of revealed that, yeah, he's been around before. He's been in the background. This is the coolest Stormcast model I think they've ever made. For me, by a country mile. I think this guy is so sick. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is he does look a lot like a Space Marine chaplain, but whatever.
I was going to say he looks fantastic, but he doesn't look a lot like a Stormcast.
Yeah, he really looks like a Space Marine, right?
Yeah, even down to like if you look at the dragon's head, it doesn't really look like the other dragons that Stormcast have as much. And also, speaking of the dragon, the wing flaps that they put in, like the texture of that is like the best. It looks like actual leather.
It does.
Like it looks fantastic.
There's so much texture and scales and individual like details in there. And for me, the reason I didn't like the dragons as much before, like I didn't hate on them like other people, but like the reason I wasn't as big a fan of them is because they did have a little bit of like a cartoony vibe to the face. And I think GW kind of heard that feedback and, went another way with Cryptborn here. I do wish that, like, I don't get why they keep making characters that are only, like, why ever make a character that is only a named character in a big kit? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't every time. Like, it really doesn't take that much more resources, and then they just get so much more out of it. Like, they can never kill this character now. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. I do love this model though, dude. Like, I think this is legit the coolest Stormcast model they've ever made by a country freaking mile. You wish the scale of the dragon was a little bigger compared to the Stormcast guy. Yeah, it could be that too. Also, it might be we have to remember whenever we see a picture that GW takes, there's a good chance that the picture is awful and that the model is bigger or proportioned differently than we think. Because like I remember the Dreadsaurian, like the picture that they took was so awful. The first time I saw it, I was like, my God, that's ugly. And then I saw pictures of that other people, normal people, non-professionals had taken of the Dreadsaurian. It's like, oh, that thing's actually kind of dope. And anyway, I flip-flopped completely on it. I don't disagree with you. It looks like he might be a little bit bigger. So like he's not going to be as big as Karazai or Krondis. I'm pretty sure, right? Because they're on like what 160 mil bases or 130 at least, right?
I think they're 160 actually.
160, right? That's what I would have said. So like, yeah, there's no way this guy is that big unless he's like Bastion sized or something. And I don't know why they would do that. Like he's not a Primarch or anything, right? I don't know. Regardless, absolutely killed it. I like the Kurnoth dude more, Belthanos, but you know, whatever. I hope the rules are good for everything because it's kind of important for people, you know, whether they pick it up and stuff. And, you know, like I like Trug, the model, a lot, but, you know, his rules are kind of like geared towards taking the Army of Renown. And his price point is like, well, I don't want to take him unless he's doing more. And then, you know, it kind of goes down this rabbit hole of stuff. So I hope it's not similar to this. I'm sure he'll have an Army of Renown. I'm sure Belthanos will have an Army of Renown. And everyone gets an Army of Renown. It's Oprah Winfrey time. But like, you know, hopefully the rules on their own are also really cool. So, yeah. And then we've got the Dawnbringer's book, of course, was announced. The Long Hunt. That cover is dope. And the dragon is a lot bigger than the dude on the cover, hey? Like, that's kind of crazy. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that the angle is doing the work there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, oh, there's this picture here, but it's still from the front there, so I'm hoping from the side. Oh, and they did show the Ogre roving mob battle trait. Friendly Gorger units that are not wholly within 1 inch of a terrain feature at the start of your charge phase can attempt to charge even if they ran in the same phase. That's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, run a charge is definitely thematic for Gorgers.
Right?
It's like super starved.
But like, don't Gorgers like deep strike traditionally?
They do, or at least the current rules they do.
Right? So if they keep the deep strike ability, there's going to be a little less utility in that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's just a choice of like, I guess if you want to like start them on the battlefield, then they can run and charge. But if you don't, then like assuming they survive after the first turn that they come on,
right,
be able to run and charge after they hopefully kill something.
Well, and I guess we don't know their rules or like their sheet or anything, right? Like,
yeah.
Other than the fact that like they're definitely going to come in a unit because they're coming in a box together, we don't really know anything, you know.
Yeah, because currently they're like individual, like one Gorger
right?
is one unit basically.
Like the man, what are they called? Man
eaters.
Man eaters, yeah.
No, they're not. They're not one person. I think they're a group of 3, aren't they?
Man eaters?
Heck.
I thought they were sold individually. They were before.
They are sold individually.
Okay, yeah.
The unit size is 3 though.
That's so weird. Well, I mean, yeah, and like the stupid, like, or not the stupid, but like the old Skaven acolytes, they're one model, metal, $20 for this little tiny dude, and you need 5 of them minimum. It's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll come in a unit, and regular ogres have 4 wounds, right? And how many do Gorgers have right now? Why would you know that? No one's gonna take them right now.
No, they have. Yeah, they have 6 wounds right now.
They have 6 wounds. Okay.
On a 6-up save though. Yeah,
but they probably won't.
Do
you think you'll have 6? Do you think they'll have 6 wounds on like when they're in a pack of whatever, like 5 or 6 guys or however many come in there?
That would be nice. Just because I know that. Well, because I mean, like it's supposed to be 5 in the Warcry box, and I can't see them being like, here's 5 individual Gorger units that you can use.
Totally.
That'd be kind of weird.
But like, I'm wondering if their wound characteristic is going to change at all when they move over to a unit. You know what I mean?
Tough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Hopefully they redo the Yetis as well.
That'd be nice.
Like a
And
cool.
just kind of going through all of those like older kits, like even frost sabers would be nice because those are still resin.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Are are Noblars resin?
No, but they're ugly as sin.
I wasn't setting you up there, but like, yeah, they sure are. I've never seen them in real life. I know people own them, but yeah, I like Alex's idea of using the halfling from Blood Bowl. Those look cool, and
Yeah.
obviously I like yours, which are the Hobgrots Slitas from Dominion. But yeah, right on. Okay, so now on to the main event. Carson is fresh off his epic win at Kipper's. Um, we did talk about kind of going through your games, and I did you send me the lists or the we were
Oh,
talking about.
what is it? Oh, I can send you the link to
Awesome,
that
thank
now.
you. We talked about it right before we started, and then I just realized right now that I don't think I have that. Was that you?
I sent you the overview. And if you kind of want to go like round by round, you could probably go to pairings
Okay.
and then
Okay.
find my opponent there.
Cool. I should have closed the Facebook.
So
Okay.
that was table number 6 in round 1.
I am bad at this.
Oh,
So
never mind. That's round 5. Sorry.
so
Whoops.
is it sorry, is it pairings I go to? I think
You
you
go to pairings,
okay.
and then it'll start you on round 5,
Oh, okay.
and then you want to go
Oh, I just clicked
little arrows
left.
go back to round 1. Yeah, and I was
Gotcha.
table 7 in round 1.
Okay. So now I can put it up on the stream and people can see it. So we got year number 7, Carson and Lex. Very cool. So we all know Carson's list, and so
Yep, yep.
I'll pull up Lex's list. Okay, and then I gotta put this down so people can see it.
Yeah. So Lex was playing Slaves to Darkness, host of the Everchosen, and again we did a list review on everyone's lists prior to the event, so I can kind of just more so go over like what happened during the game. Um, Fortunately, this was Lex's first tournament,
Oh,
so
really? Oh man.
I felt kind of bad. I explained as many things as I could, but it was a pretty quick game. I do this thing typically where I'll like line up the Noblars like in a straight line because they can be lined up with the 25mm bases,
Yep.
as long as they're touching base to base, and then I'll put the Ogre Gluttons or something else behind them within 3 inches of the front of their base, but outside of 2 inches of the front of their base, which means that typically, if something charges the Noblars, they'll tie up the Gluttons, but the
Right.
Gluttons will be able to step in and smack them, whereas they won't be able to smack the Gluttons back. Or rather, the Gluttons will get to hit something before they're able to be hit.
Right.
And then what happened was he sent a block of 10 knights at me. It hit the Noblars. Didn't quite kill all of them, but then 2 groups of Gluttons stepped in and just wiped the knights completely. And then he did it again with his general, and the same thing happened.
Oh,
And then
man.
and then I charged mortal his chosen to death, which was pretty.
What the-
I felt really bad.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
But he was a really nice guy. Like he
Oh
he had a
man.
good army and stuff like that. And yeah, and that
Well,
was
and
Bellator number 1 that I would see this day.
the thing is, yeah, the thing is too is that this is your only other AOS army, and you know it really well. So it's just like step into my parlor, said the spider to the fly, right? Like you're just like, yeah, I know this army. You know, if he's his first tournament, likely better than he did. Oh man. I mean, yeah. If he's a great guy, then that's so super awesome. Hopefully, he'll be back for more. You know, yeah. Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
How was Bellicor? Did he
Bellator shut off the Stonehorn 1 round, I think.
shot off your Stonehorn?
Yeah, he picked him.
Oh,
So what
got it.
happens?
He picked it to
No,
like not
shot
do
off,
anything.
Shut off. Yeah.
Shut off.
Turned
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I was like shut off. Like wasn't even aware he had a shooting attack. Like I've got him
Which
in
is
a
not-
box over there, but
Yeah. No, he So what ended up happening is I took so we were playing Geometric Pulse, And I took the first turn knowing that Slaves to Darkness are an extremely slow army, so I was like, I could probably waste a double turn of his. Um, and that's exactly what happened. Is like the first turn, not a whole lot happened. Actually, the first turn he managed to get his knights in with like a 3d6 charge and stuff, and then they got killed by the counter attack. And then I actually won the roll off, and I just gave him the double turn,
Oh,
so that
okay.
I could pick where the pulse was,
Right.
and I knew that he wouldn't, like his chosen weren't in range of charging me or anything like that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's really cool. You know, like at first glance, I felt like maybe slaves might be like a bit of a counter to ogres because they have so much mortal wound protection. And your whole thing is charging in. But I guess the chosen don't have that,
They don't, but
right?
another thing as well is that like while ogres do a lot of mortal wounds on the charge, that's not the main source of damage.
And that's
Like
true. No, I understand,
you,
but like it's your whole sub faction too, right?
it is, yeah. No, I'm not saying it's like, uh, um, I usually use those mortal wounds to target something specifically, like a character that needs to die, or
Or like a
it's just like
Bastilla,
an extra bit of icing on the cake,
right?
essentially.
Yeah. Or I was
Um,
thinking like a Leviathan to like get its save characteristic worse, so
yeah,
you can then hit it easier. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Anything that's got like a really high save characteristic, I like to like stack all of them on that. That's really nice, but otherwise it's just like extra damage that's guaranteed. And then to give you an idea, like a unit of 6 gluttons has a damage potential of 50. So in one combat phase, which is
Holy
pretty,
moly!
yeah. On average,
That's
obviously, it's not going to be that
unreinforced.
much. Unreinforced, yeah, just 6 regular
Jeez.
gluttons as
Cool.
that's not average damage, but that's the maximum
No,
damage
I
output you can have.
understand, but like, what's the average damage then? Like, I know it depends on the save characteristic, but like, on a 4-up save, it's probably pretty good, right? Like, because you can always add, pluses to hit, and there are pluses to wound sources as well in your army, as well as like triumphs and such like that. Although I don't think that's what you use your triumph for. If you, oh no, you're 2,000 points on the nose, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah. So a
wow,
unit of 6 gluttons into a 4-up save will deal. So if neither group is buffed,
yep.
they'll deal about 15 wounds. They'll get
Jeez,
15 wounds through
that's
on a 4-up save.
crazy. That's crazy. What up, Bahamut? Thanks for joining us. Yes, John, I've got the Skaven Last Supper. It's my favorite wallpaper I think ever made. Robin, I can't wait too, man. Thank you again. So I was talking to Dave from 2 Plus, and he helped me out with some Underworld stuff to try and get started with the Underworlds here. Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people really like it. I mostly just use them in AOS, but Roman's a big fan of it on the channel. He had like almost all the warbands. Dang, so that sounds like a really good game, though. Yeah, the Stonehorn is the best target, I think, for Be'lakor, but you know,
That's usually what people do, yeah. Is they'll shut off the Stonehorn, especially if I decide to go second. They'll
right?
shut it off at the start of my first turn, and then it's like anti-double turn, essentially.
That's
So,
true.
but in some ways, it's not the worst thing. Like, obviously, I would prefer to have a Stonehorn available to me, but
Right,
they're spending 340 points to basically shut off 460 points for maybe 2 turns.
right.
But another thing to keep in mind about ogres is that everything in the army is a hammer.
Yep.
So it's not that you've shut off my only hammer; it's that you've shut off my fastest hammer and my only anvil, really.
Right.
Um,
I guess maybe Noblars are the only thing that's not a hammer.
yeah, sure,
They're like
that's
a
true.
debuffing, but I mean it's like a what 130 points out of your army or something, 20.
120 for
Yeah,
Noblars, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. But yeah, that was the first game. It was pretty good. Lex was a
very
great
cool.
guy.
Okay, and then I go to round 2. Boop.
Yep. And I was table, let's see,
You
14.
14. There we go.
I
Matthias.
recognize the other person on the other end here.
Never heard of him. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Here, one second.
So I immediately paired into Matthias round 2, which is kind of crazy.
It seemed
Um,
like our whole club got paired into each other round 2.
There was a great culling, that's for sure. I think probably what happened is that like our club probably did really well at
Yeah.
round 1, and then it was top down. So
So, could you explain what that is?
So top down means basically you're separated into win brackets. So like when you play your first game, you can either be 0-1 or 1-0, or I guess technically you tied.
Yeah.
That's another one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Top down means you have a certain amount of score that was associated with your win, and that could be based on like you scoring battle tactics or denying battle tactics or whatever the tournament says. And the higher you are determines like your actual rank in the entire tournament at that time.
Right.
And then the top down pairing means first place gets paired into second place, third place gets paired into fourth place, fifth place gets paired into sixth place, etc., etc. So what happened was Matthias and I both like beat our first opponents pretty bad, and we were first and second place, so we got paired against each other immediately.
So why do they do that? Like, I'm trying to be.
So that's the default setting for Best Coast Pairings, the app that was used for this tournament.
Okay.
So when you say like pairing people together, that's what happens by default.
Okay.
So that wasn't like a conscious specific TO decision.
I understand.
Tournaments will do like random within your win bracket. Some tournaments will do
like how
I
it's.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's like first versus last in your win bracket, and then you kind of like work your way towards the middle, and that kind of like is supposed to quote unquote guarantee that the most competitive players are playing in the final game.
Yeah.
Exactly. But either way, it's like if someone goes 5-0, like they're going to be facing the most competitive people somewhere, right? Like it does have to happen. It's just it's happened earlier in this tournament. Me and Matthias probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I mean, there's a very good reason why I think every sport out there, virtually without exception that I know of, does, because you're trying to create an incentive structure for, for winning, like for doing better, like that's one of the reasons why I don't like that battle plan that incentivizes you to get less points so you can control what's going on. I think that's not good design, but and I'm not crapping on, like, I actually, and I knew all of that, right? I knew you were going to be much better at explaining it than I was, but knowing that, like, I don't know, I see it, like, it seems it is the most common thing in wargaming, at least, or maybe I should say in Age of Sigmar, at least, because 40K I don't know if they do that in 40K or not, but like, yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like it kind of gets my goat a little bit. Like, I'm not playing in these tournaments, but it still bothers me. It shouldn't, but yeah,
I think, and this is through no fault of the TO.
No, it's nothing that I'm not. This is what I meant to say. I want to make it very clear. This is not a dig at any TO at all. I don't think that you should do it this way. If you have the option, I do think that they should do the traditional way. But
there's a lot of opinions back and forth on it, and Kiki just said in the chat as well, like, he disagrees. If you win your first game, you shouldn't be given an easier opportunity to win your second game. It proves nothing. And like, from a pure competitive standpoint, I kind of understand that. Like, you should be facing the people who are currently doing just as good as you, so you can knock them out of the way. I'm not saying that's my standpoint, but that's like definitely a valid point to bring up. I think that in a lot of sports, what probably happens is people realize that it's less exciting to do that. Just because when that happens, it tends to be that the two people that probably would have been facing each other at the very end end up facing each other like pretty quickly or somewhere in the middle. Yeah. And then you don't have this like crazy big like standoff at the very end. Like the penultimate round is like the two most competitive players in the tournament. You probably have something like one player has maybe done a little bit better than the other player, and then smokes the other one. That actually wasn't the case in this tournament. My last game was very close, but it was still.
You're more likely to get that, though, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I guess at the end of the day, this isn't a competitive sport, so maybe thinking like that isn't. But I mean, like, even in like just video games and stuff like that, like I think there's a good reason, and I definitely still think that that's the way it should be done, because like the other thing too is like what you'll see is when you get random and when you get the top down system, and I've seen so many people complaining about this in all of, in 40K and whatever, is you're left a lot of the time with someone who went 2-0 and another person who went 1-1, right? And then they get put together, right? And so, you know what I mean? Like, those people are also being rewarded. Like, you're basically being rewarded for doing worse. You know what I mean? But I mean, I guess it's kind of its own thing. A sports team play against each other more than once. Best of 7 is different. If you 5-0 like the Meat King the hard way, then you're the best. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other, I mean, I just don't think it's a good incentive structure, but I mean, we can stop,
There's so many arguments one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's got opinions on it, and to be honest, spoilers, but I'm going to be TOing an event in like the first quarter of next year.
Yep.
Or the second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have plenty of opinions about it too, and we'll see what people have to say about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day,
it
is what it is, and this isn't a competitive sport. Like, if we were trying to make it the most competitive as possible, I think you have to do it. I think you have to do the best versus the worst. Like, that's the only proper way to do it. But it's a war game. Like, we give points for being nice in this game. We give points for painting things more pretty and whatnot. So maybe thinking about it in the way that I was is not necessarily the best for the game and for people's experience overall. I guess I'm kind of like someone who wants the most fair thing as possible, though, is, you know what I mean? But yeah.
And another thing one last thing that goes into it as well is
Please.
that, like, all of these sports that we're referencing,
yeah,
those are televised. Like, they make money off of the most exciting things happening.
That's true.
And what we're talking about, we're like, you're pairing best into worst, so that the two theoretically best teams are like fighting each other at the very end. That's the most exciting outcome.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get way more views doing something like that.
That's true.
And that's probably a lot of what drives that model as well.
Probably. I mean, I think people too, though, are just like, well, like, if your team went like 16-0 during the season, this is an NFL reference in case you couldn't tell, right? And then you make it to the playoffs. Why should you then face the number 2 team who went 15-1, for example? When what's the incentive then? Like, the incentive then, if you want to do better in the playoffs, would then be to go like to barely make it, right? And that's just not a good incentive structure overall. But again, this isn't a professional sport, so whatever's most fair to the people isn't necessarily going to be the best thing for the tournament and for the scene and for the game. But what do I care? I don't play in tournaments. So you went into Matthias. A little bit of a digression here. And
then
there we go.
I think I took the first turn. Again, just so that I could get magical dominance off, because basically he deployed Bellicor outside of 30 of everything that I have, and I'm like, I don't want you to get magical dominance. I want you to have to do something for your first
right. Oh, cool.
So what happened was, we were on Fountains of Frost, I believe, which is basically like 3 objectives, and then your deployment is 11 inches on either battlefield edge, and then there's a no man's land of 22 inches in the center.
Right.
So you can very easily get Intimidate the Invaders first turn. And what happened was, the first turn, it was kind of crazy. I got magical dominance, and then I kind of like moved everything up in like a big like -1 to hit bubble with the Fire Belly. And the Stonehorn decides, I wanna be greedy, and he like runs up to where the Claws of Karanak are, which were like Matthias's pre-game move unit, and then he redeploys them back as he should. Actually gets a pretty good redeploy of like 5, I think. So the Stonehorn, I think, needs a 9 or 10 inch charge, and the very first roll, baby. And Matthias is like, oh god, no. And so he hits Claws of Karnak, kills all but like 2 or 3 of them or something.
And it's even
And
like,
then
and your charges make everything. It's not just making the charge; you also get more mortal wounds.
yeah,
when you make.
I think I just barely got what I needed or something, or maybe I got like 1 over.
Okay,
But
still.
But still, like the mortal wound impacts like almost kill Claws of Karnak, and then the Stonehorn does its like 3d6 like monstrous action charge thing. Hops over Claws of Karnak, goes over to where his other screen is, on like a point way far away, like across the field from his bloodletters. And then I managed to like pile him into both his. He's got 2 units of 10 bloodletters, and then the Stonehorn just like wipes both of them. And also the Passover mortal wounds that went on to Claws of Karnak finished off the unit. So basically the Stonehorn killed Claws of Karnak, 2 units of 10 bloodletters in 1 turn, and then steals a point from Matthias so that I can get 1-2 more on like the even point battlefield ones. And,
Oh my god.
yeah. And then he managed to like he came back pretty well, and like he charged all of his bloodletters into like my meat castle. It was a bit of a bloodbath, and then I think he didn't want like my Iron Guts to like just wipe his unit of bloodletters that he sent in, so he put Be'lakor into them.
Oh, okay.
And then he didn't kill them all. He killed like 1, I think, and the Iron Guts just like turned around and swatted Be'lakor off the battlefield. So unfortunately, Matthias actually didn't get to use Dark Master with Be'lakor on anything that game.
That happened in our game too when we did a battle report, and I killed him turn 1, and I feel like the other guy who just used him turn 1. It's such a great idea because Be'lakor's on a 4-up ethereal save, so you can never get it better or worse, right? But if you just don't roll well, like what happened against Darren with me, I took a regular Mangler, not the Loom Boss, so no powers, no nothing, and no pluses to hit, nothing, and I just killed Be'lakor at the top of 1 with a regular Mangler, which is super random. Like that's crazy bad luck, right? But yeah, that like 4s are just, I hate trying to roll 4s on a save, Man, that sounds like a, yeah.
So then what happens is like we have this massive blob of like bloodletters and ogres and noblars and stuff tied up in the center.
Mm-hmm.
He has his bloodthirster like a decent ways back.
Okay.
And then I win priority into the next turn, because if you go first, you actually have a 2/3 chance or you have a much better chance of going than your opponent does, because ties go to you.
Yeah.
So I beat him in the roll-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skill. And
All skill.
Like, another unit of Iron Guts just like moves up, kills his bloodthirster. The Stonehorn goes in, wipes the bloodletters almost completely, I think.
Okay.
And then it was pretty much over after that point.
Wow.
So.
Dang.
Good game against Matthias, as always.
As always. Yeah.
Definitely some luck factors into it, but that's kind of ogres. And that's something that came up a lot on the weekend, is like, and I'm sure we'll save this to like a dedicated show for ogres of some kind, but like the army really rewards taking like medium risk, high reward strategies, where it's that kind of thing where it's like you can sit at 12 inches from something, and you're like, I'm just going to roll this just in case to see what happens. Because it's like, if you don't make it, it's not that bad. Or maybe at worst, like you might take some damage, more damage than you were expecting. But if you do make it, like borderline game over for your opponent.
I can see that.
And having tons of different opportunities for that is kind of something that usually puts me ahead in games.
Right. I mean, I really have to hand it to you, because like one thing that I don't like to do, I'm not afraid of the double turn, but like it does feel like this really big influencing factor where, it can change a game. It can flip it on its head, and then it can get flipped on its head again, as long as you're not, taking too much off the board. But I definitely have to hand it to you, because like I have, when someone's rocking a 1-drop, the most popular and prevalent thing to do is to give people the top of the first turn 1, right? And I understand what you were saying about, it's good to think about the battle tactics and stuff like that, but you have to hand it to you, man. Like you have consistently, been one of those people who takes the top of the turn, you know, and you're not even like alphaing people. You're just setting up stuff and getting your battle tactics and whatnot. And I think it's really cool, you know? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't always take the first turn. Like,
no, I know.
Tournaments where I 100% take the second turn, and tournaments where I 100% take the first turn.
Yeah.
It really depends on your opponent, and there's a lot of things that go into it. But yeah, it's definitely not like a black and white decision without knowing your opponent.
I think you've definitely kind of mastered that to an extent. Like I, you know, and I kind of brought you into AOS, right? And I'm still, I hate taking the first turn, and I do it. And I was finding for a while that I was winning more often when I would take the first turn. And maybe that's because it was forcing me to like think very defensively and such, and not, you know, be such a gambler, but which I love to do. But yeah, man. Yeah, it's been really cool to see you do that very consistently. So now we're into game 3 or round 3.
Yep. So game 3 or round 3 is the last game of day 1.
Last game of day 1. Okay. You are number 19 against Dan Say, which I think is supposed to be Dan Sway.
So Dan is a member of our club, but some of you who watch Honest Wargamer might know him from there as well. Like, he's frequently a co-host for Rob the Honest Wargamer.
Yeah.
My dog is very angry that I said that.
At least she wasn't there for you getting something from the meat dimension.
Yeah, that's true. It's always a nightmare. Yeah, Dan played a really excellent game. This was my first time playing against him, even though we're in the same club. And he's just a blast to play against. Like, he's a really nice guy. He's a great player.
Yeah.
And the entire game we were just having fun. Like, he was also the only opponent I've had up to that point where it's just like, let's use a chess clock, and he didn't want to do it for like purposes of thinking I was going to like time him out or anything like that. It's just something he does at every single game now, which is kind of interesting. Like, you know, getting used to using a test clock. There's a lot of opinions for and against it. But yeah, that was fun. He runs like he runs Beast of Chaos. He's got like 9 Bulgors, which are very slappy, and they can come out of nowhere. You know, they can basically appear outside of 7 inches from something and then get like +2 to charge that turn. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. So again, against him, I decided I want to go first, and the battle plan that we're playing is Ice Fields, which is not Dawn of War deployment. It's Hammer and Anvil if you're used to like the old terms.
Yeah. And
there's 3 objectives on each side.
Right.
Another thing is that you in Ice Fields specifically, anytime anything runs, it immediately takes D3 mortal wounds.
Yep.
And anytime you roll a 1 charge, and this includes if you roll 2 1s, it would be 2. You take D3 mortal wounds as well.
I didn't know that you take 2 D3 mortal wounds if you rolled Snake Eyes on your charge.
Yep.
Whoa.
This didn't happen, but it's good to know. Like a 1 in 36 chance, yeah.
Holy moly.
And that's obviously after you decide.
You've got like a little hero though. He just dies. Like, come on, man.
It could happen.
I know exactly. Yeah, absolutely, it could happen.
Yeah. And so basically, what I did was against Dan, I made like a gigantic line of Noblars. On like 1 battlefield edge within like 7 inches of it or something, or maybe like 9, to make sure that like you can't come in from that battlefield edge.
Right.
Then I just made like when you play against Beasts of Chaos, you kind of have to screen like backwards.
Yep.
When you're up against normal army, like, you know where they are and they know where you are, and your screen is here and their screens are here, and that's fine. Whereas with Beasts of Chaos, they're coming from like usually behind you, like they're always the battlefield edges, except for the Bulgor. And so what I did is I kind of did that like a backwards screen, moved my army like as far up the battlefield as I could, and he did start a couple things on the battlefield. Like he had Bellicor, which is the 3rd Bellicor I faced that day.
So crazy.
And he also had some like Ungor or something just for like capping objectives. And then basically what I did is like I threw the Stonehorn up, and I was I wanted to like try and charge those Ungor to see if I could clear them off the table. But he didn't end up making the charge, and he stayed like a little bit closer to my lines as like bait, essentially. And then Dan was very candid. He's like, I know that Stonehorn is bait, but I'm going for it. And then So he like brings his Bulgors in within 7 inches, and then does one thing that I think is probably kind of what like turned it in my favor.
Okay.
Which was he moved
Other
his
than go for
Ungor.
the bait, that's the trap or whatever.
Yeah, he moved his Ungor like within 9 inches of the Stonehorn, or like they were already within 9 inches, but he like shifted them a bit to, I think,
Okay.
for some reason, and then I redeployed the Stonehorn closer to everything else, basically like right beside a unit of Iron Guts and within the bubble of -1 to hit from the Fire Belly. And so after that point, I think his Bulgor needed like a 10-inch charge or something, but they had plus a bunch. They make it in, they hit the Stonehorn with all their impact mortals and stuff, but they don't kill the Stonehorn, and they don't kill the Iron Guts, and the Stonehorn hits them, and the Iron Guts hits them, and he loses all of his Bulgor.
Beastmen
on his
are
turn
not
one.
good at surviving stuff, man.
No.
Like that's their biggest weakness.
Yeah, it was.
Rip.
So after that happened, it was kind of just like me cleaning up the rest of the table.
You're what's it called? Cleaning your plate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He then said that he used his Bulgor as like honorary ogres in every single other game, but then his honorary ogres went up against actual ogres and did not
Turns out
do well.
they're tasty. They are
Tasty.
Are they-
bison?
Are they? Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask. Are they bison? Are they yaks? Are they a traditional bull?
I don't know.
Yeah, free range, grass fed. Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not grass fed. It should be mentioned before I forget to. Dan's army is rad. Heavily
voted-
converted.
So there was like a favorite army contest, which is just like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like painting quality, of which it's also fantastic.
It is. Yeah.
And I definitely chose Dan as my like #1 favorite army, because like those conversion jobs were amazing.
Did he
They're
win?
basically like all. He won something,
He won something, right?
I think.
So we should
I can't
probably
remember.
also mention that our club won 5 out of the 6 awards or something crazy.
I think it was actually 5 out of 7.
5 out of 7. Okay.
Best general, best overall, best painted, favorite army, best table, sports, and
Overall.
I already said overall.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I'm not sure what the last one was, but I know that someone that wasn't Warp Dice won best general,
Okay.
and because I took best overall, and then someone who wasn't Warp Dice won best painted as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
best painted is different than favorite army.
Yeah, favorite army is by like player vote.
Got it.
Best painted, there's a third party judge that comes in and
Oh,
like
okay.
actually, yeah.
That might be better. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree, because there's one thing that happens where like if people start to see the same army at every tournament,
Yeah.
They tend not to vote for it, even if it is like a really nice army. And also it can factor in like, I'm sure there are some people out there that are like, I'm gonna write my buddies down so that like they have a better chance at winning stuff.
Yep.
Whereas like if you have a third party judge that's like purely not involved, it's just on like the quality of the paint. Which
And
I think
it's
is
unlikely even that the third party person is totally uninvolved in the community, but yeah, I think that's the best way, because like it's more likely, like it's human nature to just be like, I know that person and like they're all about painting and so they're my buddy, so yeah, I think that's better. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, congrats again to Dan. He painted like most of this army at the last minute. He's been converting it for a while, and they are gorgeous. Somehow I need to have Dan on. That the plan is to have him and Darren on soon. They both haven't been on the channel before, so hopefully I'll get them on soon, and everyone can see how awesome both of their armies are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
And on
now
to day 2.
day 2, round 4. We got do you know where you are on here? I might have gone past it.
That last 23.
Oh, okay.
They were random tables, so.
I was like worried I'd gone past it. Okay.
No. So I played against Logan, who is actually a fan of the channel. I realized, like when we met.
I met him the other day too. He was super nice.
A really, really nice guy.
Yeah.
He was running Cruel Boys, and he was absolutely killing it. And then we played our game, which was Nexus Collapse, which is a game that you mentioned before, which is basically like you kind of want to score less than your opponent.
Right.
And I have a bit of like a formula that I run to whether I want, because I always go second in this one, like almost no matter what, against my opponent, because you have like extremely valuable information of like how many points did my opponent score.
Right.
Then you can kind of decide if you want to overshoot them or if you want to go under and delete some of their objectives, and it also depends on their army. So what I basically always do, you're welcome to copy me, is knowing that I'm going to go second,
Yeah.
I deploy on one single objective, which means that your opponent cannot just sit on one objective and score 1 and more and score 4. It is impossible for your opponent to score 4 if you sit on one objective.
That's really cool.
Oh no, that's not true. Yes, it is true. Sorry,
Okay.
because they can either sit on one objective and score their battle tactic for 3.
Right.
They can just sit on one objective for 1. They can just score their battle tactic for 2, or they can sit on 2 objectives, which automatically gets them 1, 2, and more for 5.
Right.
So basically what that means is that they have a choice to score 1, 2, or 3, or 5, which means if they score 1 to 3, chances are you probably want to overshoot them by 2 points and then just take that lead, especially if you're an aggressive army like I am. And if they score a full 5, then you can very easily say, okay, I'm just going to score 4 and delete 2 of your objectives, because I'll take a 1 point loss. And so what happened is he deployed on 0 objectives and scored only a battle tactic for 2. So what I decided to do was just say, I'm going to score my full 5 and then just get a 3-point lead immediately. And then basically, knowing that I had that 3-point lead, which is a full grand strat, that's a lot.
Yep.
And also knowing that like the objectives are not going to be here for a long time this game unless he catches up to me. I played way more aggressively than I normally would into Cruel Boys. So I like sent my Stonehorn in. I was like running everyone like as close as I possibly could, so that it actually wasn't possible for him to score primaries anymore, even if he stepped onto them in his own territory and stuff. I think he might have been able to do like 1.
Well, the other
he
thing
was really far back.
The other thing too is, yeah, it was when you push someone back into their own area, they have to get out of that to even be able to, score primaries. So that's really smart.
Cruel Boys is a very castle-y army. They want to protect their Bolt Boys, which is like the main source of damage.
Yep.
And I was actually rewarded in my aggression. So I didn't do anything turn 1. I basically like scored my full 5 and kept everything outside of 24 inches so that he wouldn't be able to shoot me at all with his Bolt Boys. And then turn 2, I can't remember if I'm pretty sure what happened is he won priority and gave me the double turn, which is a smart thing to do.
Right.
Because now he gets the information of whether I'm going to, like score a whole bunch or not. And spoilers, I did want to. I just wanted to do. I think I did like a safe one, like intimidate the invaders or something. Then I set the Stonehorn in. The Stonehorn charges his. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not a horse. It's like a lizard creature that the dude's on. Riding on.
Well, there's 2 that there's the Great Gnash Tooth, and then there's also
So the Stonehorn charges into the Gnash Tooth after I think I shoot it once or something.
That's the littler one, right? Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
And the Stonehorn just straight up kills it with mortal wounds on the impact hits.
Wow.
Because it had like 2 wounds shaved off of it already.
Oh, okay.
And he killed it after that.
Because he has 10. He has 10 wounds.
Yeah, so he did 8 mortal wounds. It was a lot.
Jeez. Well, he's the only thing in the army with a 3-up save. So, like, he's like one of the few more difficult things to kill. Yeah. And you're -1 to wound battle round 1 too. So, yeah.
Yep. And then what happened is after he killed him, he 3d6 charge jumped into another group of gut rippers and
jerk.
Like Bolt Boys. And then he piles into the Bolt Boys and kills them all. So basically, like I've halved his offensive output.
So basically, he's no longer a fan of the channel. Is that what I'm hearing?
So he's unsubscribed.
I'm sorry, Logan.
And he's downvoting every single video.
Oh my god.
And then basically like the whole game is just me playing like hyper aggressively, making sure that he can't stand on any points. I don't know that he scored one like primary victory point the whole game.
You know,
But he scored 5 full battle tactics. He scored all 5.
wow,
But
that's
so
good play for that.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
he played exceptionally, but it's just like too much aggression
yeah.
and
It's hard to
yeah.
come back from that opening for sure.
Yeah, I think in turn 3, like I was probably 10 points ahead or something,
Wow,
which was
wow.
yeah.
The yeah, the what's it called? Um, the army in general for Cruel Boys is particularly like it just doesn't have a great save. Like they are very squishy. They're very glass cannony, and yeah, I mean, wow. Welcome, Jason. Thanks for the nice words for Carson there. Yeah, he won for exclusively for the meat dimension, but also a little bit for the Oompa Loompas in the meat dimension. I think they deserve a shout out, right?
Yeah, they've been around this whole time, by the way. Just
Yeah.
like just out of camera view,
Yeah, it's
waiting
true.
to come in.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it's like one of those pictures that with the pixelated stuff, and you have to like, unfocus your eyes to see them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were actually there. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for him for getting so far with Cruel Boys too. Like they've not traditionally been a super strong army.
They're coming back.
They are coming back, and like they won that race to the bottom, right? They're a cool army. I love them. I've been rocking them this whole time. Cool. Okay, so and then final day. Day
Final
5.
game.
Do you know?
Table 6.
Thank you. And then we got Taylor. Taylor was playing Maggot Can. Whoa.
Yeah. So before going into this game, so I won against Logan, and I knew that there were basically like 2 other potential people, or no, 2 other potential people. There's basically I knew that my choices were either going to be Megakin or Daughters of Cain Marathi.
Yeah.
And
what were you hoping for?
I was actually hoping for Megatkin.
Yeah,
because
that's
I was
what
like,
I was thinking.
I mean, I can probably bully them off of objectives. Like I deal a lot of damage, and I feel like I can kind of get through like the disgustingly resilient. But I don't know that I was right in my hope after playing this game, because my God, was that a slog, like a hard fought game. So he's got the Glock 10, he's got Bellicor, he's got the Great and Clean one, and a Sloppy Bow Piper. There's kind of like 2 main tech pieces here. Sorry.
One second, before I forget, you fought 3 Bellicors? 4 Bellicors? What the crap? Slaves to Darkness, Beasts of Chaos, Maggotkin.
And Matthias.
Oh, Matthias, duh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What? Okay, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt, but I just saw another one and I was just like, 3 is insane, but 4 is incredible. Oh my God.
So, okay, there's 2 big tech pieces that are important to note here.
Yeah.
We all know about Bellicor, so I'm not including in these 2.
Yep.
Number 1 is the Glotkin.
Glotkin, yeah.
So basically, if there's any enemy units, i.e. your units, within 12 inches of the Glotkin at the end of your movement phase. He can basically issue a command to someone to charge in your movement phase at the end.
Yeah.
That's extremely important for ogres, because I like charging. I like it a lot. It's my whole thing, actually. Like, so it's pretty rough going into that, and I kind of knew that.
Right.
However, there's another thing. The Sloppy File Paper has he basically like goes and just like sings a little tune at the start of every combat phase, and it can do like one of 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important one that it can do is that it makes it so that you cannot pile in closer to Nurgle demons while they are wholly within 14 of the Sloppy File Paper. So basically what he can do is he can charge at you, sorry for the barking, he can
I can't even hear it, to be honest.
Okay, he can charge at you a unit of like flag bearers. And
then I heard it. That's the funny thing. Sorry. Sorry.
And then another dog this time.
Antagonizing your dog.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah. So basically, he'll like barely tag a unit, or actually, he'll barely tag as many units as he possibly can. And ideally, you have a bunch of units grouped up so that he like tags one by being within half inch, and then barely gets inside of 3 of the other two. And what that means is that if they're still wholly within 14 of the sloppy wallpaper, those units that he tagged won't be able to pile in and actually hit whatever they tagged. So like, he actually managed to tag like on the first turn a unit of gluttons, a unit of iron guts, and the Stonehorn, um, with one unit of Nurglings, or sorry, like the Nurgle like whatevers. And I made a big mistake where it's like I like to kind of conga line my dudes so that they charge in a column, and then I spread them out like this.
Yeah.
So he essentially tags like one single glutton within a half inch, and that's the only thing that can actually hit them back in the following combat phase. So it just like gums you up and ties you up so much, and nothing in his army particularly does a whole lot of damage. It just kind of like attritions you to death.
Yeah.
But because you can't pile into anything, and because he can countercharge you the whole time, it's awful. And then I made one other big mistake on deployment, which is I made a huge line of Noblars in front of my guys like I normally do.
Yeah.
But they're actually kind of a liability against Nurgle because I don't need the screen for anything against Nurgle. Like, he's not going to be charging me with anything super damaging.
Right.
So we Bellicored them turn 1. And basically trapped me behind them, so I had to move around them.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
So he played excellently, and it came down to the very last battle round. His final turn, he needed to score 5 points that turn.
Wow.
Including his grand strat, in order to like win the game.
Wait, he needed to get 5 points,
Yeah,
and on
so
top of that, get his grand strat. So he needed 8 points.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
So basically, it was turn 5. I'd already done my turn 5, and the score was 20-16, and I was not going to get my grand strat because I hadn't like killed everything. Like there was more of his stuff in his territory. So basically, and we're playing Power Flux, where it's not actually a lot of scoring on primaries. You get 1 for controlling one for controlling the other one, and Dorian Locus on each, and then a victory point for killing wizards.
Right.
So basically, we probably had a good 45 minutes left in the round, as he was like flipping through his books, like trying to find a battle tactic that he can possibly do. And I'm just like sitting there sweating, like watching him. He's going through all of his book tactics. He's going through the GHB. He's like, hey, can I see the sheet just to see like which battle tactics I've already done? And he reads it over. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, please God, don't find something. Because I know that I can deny his grand strat.
Right.
Is what I did. He only had 1 wizard on the table.
Oh, I see.
I think it's summoned. His grand strat was basically 2 wizards. You can see right there, control the Nexus.
Right.
2 friendly wizards within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. And he has the Great Unclean One still alive, and that's the only wizard he has. He can summon another wizard, but the Stonehorn is close enough to the center of the battlefield where when he summons it in within 9 inches, it can't, like, it can't be summoned within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. So basically, he'd have to charge it into the Stonehorn, and then the Stonehorn just goes and kills it, like, immediately, right?
Wow. Huh.
So he finds one battle tactic, which is, like, the only possible one, which I think is all of his units has to inflict disease.
Yeah, right on. Yeah.
But
no, I think isn't it all of your units have to have disease on them at the end?
No, I think it's. Let me look it up.
Or is it like a certain amount of disease points? If Keith were here, he would know. In addition to obviously Matthias and the other people that play Nurgle on the channel. Dang. And I think you were talking about the Plague Bearers that you were, that he was tagging you with. Yeah, I don't see any Nurglings, but he could have been summoning them as well. I can bring it up on the channel too. Maybe someone.
I'm trying to look at Warhammer, but I'm not finding the one.
Oh, it's a grand strat, Ludovicus. Thank you. I'm not as familiar with the Nurgles. Yeah, John was saying earlier, it's crazy how many people drop out of out of tournaments. Yeah, that is kind of wild to me too. I mean, I guess some of them might be locals, and I don't know why you would if you, but presumably most of these people are kind of coming from somewhat far away and have planned things around that. But yeah,
I can't find the one that it was on Warhammer.
Oh, is it the new one?
No, because that one's on there now. That Don't Squabble Children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was something to do with he had to like fly disease.
Something to do with disease?
Yeah, but basically the linchpin or like the crux of it was that his Great Unclean One he had to make an 11-inch charge in order to do that.
Okay.
And then the wizard that he summoned in had to also make a 9-inch charge. And so basically, I'm staring at him and I'm just like, okay, I know he can score 3 this turn because he can control 1. He has an Endorian Locust on 1. And then he could just like move a bunch of Nurgle onto the same point that the Stonehorn is and control both. So he like picks up his dice, and we both know what exactly like the thing is. And he rolls his charge, not 11 inches. He's like, spend a CP to re-roll it, and I'm just like, he rolls it again, and he doesn't make it, and then he just offers his hand and says, "Good game," and I win by 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah, 1 single point. So it was an extremely well fought game.
Wow.
He played excellently, and yeah,
dang,
that was the end.
Yeah, the thing with Be'lakor is brilliant, frankly.
Yeah,
and you get your use out of him. You know you do. Bellacor's probably one of the better. He's not a great hammer, but he's probably one of the better ones in the army.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah.
The Glotkin is too, but you got to protect him because he's like your whole like strategy almost, right?
Yeah, to give you an idea, like 1 unit of Iron Guts just spiked the Glotkin down in 1 combat phase. They didn't even have to fight twice. yeah. It was insane.
What the? I mean, God dang, is that normal? Like, he's like 20 wounds or something.
They got +1 to wound from the Slaughtermaster's pot.
Okay.
So they're hitting on 2s and 2s.
Jeez.
And they do 3 damage each, and they're Ren 2, and the Glotkin's on a 4-up save. So, yeah, they could deal a lot of damage. The damage potential. Actually, I think they had Blood Feast too. So they're a Blood Feast, which means they have +1 attack.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, that's what's that? 4 times 4 + 1. That's 17 attacks on 2s, -2, 3 damage. So the damage potential there is like 51.
Wow.
At Ren 2. Yep.
Yeah, and just the 3 flat damage is crazy.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a lot through, and I think I killed it by quite a bit. But like, even then, they could have fought twice.
Right.
And like he would have hit them, but I don't know if he would have killed them all because like he's a hammer, but he doesn't. I don't think he can deal 16 wounds to a 4-up save, right?
He might be able to, but like I think he might be hitting on 4s for one of his profiles. Like it's like I think the wizard has a profile on there, so yeah. I mean, it's unlikely, I'm sure. He also has a shooting attack, I think, that does mortal wounds. So like that's in his turn, obviously, but my God, yeah, that's. I mean, what a great final game, though. Like 1 point away from everything versus nothing. Well, not nothing, but
yeah, it was an excellent game. And then so there were 2 5-0s at this tournament, but because the other 5-0 was you can look at if you want to, you can take a look at the placings.
I can try. Here, placings, got it.
Yep.
There we go.
And you'll see me in first place because I had a total score of like 26-21, and then the guy below me had 24-57 because he only won a minor victory in one of his games.
The middle game, the middle game, it looks like, hey.
Yeah, which is actually against Darren.
Oh, crazy!
So thank you, Darren. Yeah.
Wow.
I still would have beat him out because like I had a lot of very high scores up until the last game. Like you can see 528, 526, 525.
Yeah.
And then his were a decent amount lower.
But if you get a minor victory, it seems like there's like almost a 200-point difference or like 150-point difference.
There is, yeah. It's quite a bit. So
I see what you're saying.
That win bracket,
yeah.
but you're significantly lower.
I see. Right. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Because like yeah, yours are all like, your worst one is 19, which is the same
That was
as
the
his
last
worst.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last one for sure. And then yeah, the rest are 28, 26, 25, 23, and his are, yeah, not that. Wow.
I never realized that actually. Mine like started at 528 and then progressively got smaller as the games got more difficult.
Hey, I mean that makes sense though, doesn't it?
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know. Oh man, it sounds like a
Yeah.
great tournament. Everyone always has nice stuff to say about Kippers. The worst part about Kippers is getting on the ferry usually, right?
Well, we took that new
Oh
foot
yeah,
passenger ferry
how
from
was
downtown. It was really nice. I would take it again for sure.
It's
Um,
faster too, right?
yeah, it's only 70 minutes, and you can
Nice.
be there like 10 minutes before it takes off.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I guess because it doesn't have to deal with the cars.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because the normal one's like an hour 35, but they say an hour 40 usually for sailing time.
Yeah.
But-
And you have to be there half an hour early.
Yeah, you have to be there half an hour early, even if you're a walk on. I thought it was 15
Maybe
or
not
20.
walk on. I'm not sure about
Yeah,
that.
I know you do for driving on usually, but
Yeah.
I mean it's a nightmare. My parents used to live on the island, and I absolutely hated taking the ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of crazy rules as well now that like you're not allowed to stay in your car unless you're like on a certain deck and stuff. It's just like okay, yeah. But that's really cool to hear, and it goes from downtown as well. I think that ferry.
Yeah, it
So
goes downtown to downtown. So
Yeah.
like it lands like a 20-minute walk away from where the event was. So
dang.
yeah. Granted, we all had our like super heavy Warhammer stuff, so that 20-minute walk was actually very arduous. We just took a taxi on the way back. Yeah.
Oh, you walked up from that ferry terminal to downtown?
To Nanaimo, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, when you have like those Magna racks for battle foam, that's not enjoyable. Yeah.
Yep, they're very heavy.
They made Warhammer nerds exercise. This is bullcrap. How dare they? Don't they know who you are? You're Carson of the meat dimension.
But yeah, that's the tournament. You can see the placings here. Some familiar faces for sure. Like
Dale.
third place was Dale, which
Yep.
is he was in our club and he's been on the show. Fourth was Dan, who again like in the club. He's on Honest Wargamer.
Mhm.
And then 8 was Roman, who's been on the channel, and Roman
Oh,
was running the
nice.
same list that I was running. He took my list.
Right.
So I like
Oh,
to
man.
think that I went 9-1 this tournament. Yeah,
Nice. You went 9-1. Yeah, you.
'cause he went 4-1 with it. He did really well.
Roman's a really good player. Like,
Yeah, he is.
yeah, he's been playing Soulblight mostly, but he also played Beasts of Chaos, and yeah, and he's had ogres forever. That's so awesome. I actually I didn't know that. I should congratulate him. Oh, I cut him off. My apologies. It's not the same on my screen. And then Logan got 12th, so that's cool.
Yep.
And Matthias got 14th. Nice. So he lost to you, and then do you know who he lost to in the third game?
There was another corn player that he went against immediately after he
Oh,
played me.
crazy.
Yeah.
There's so many in the tournament, right?
There were 5 corn players. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and LP got 16th. Good for him. Alex,
Yep. And Will
18th.
Reeves, who is now a member of our club, got 20th.
Nice. Heck yeah. And Alex got 18th, just in case that didn't go through. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Heck yeah.
Darren's 25th. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, and
Lots of friendly
and
faces.
Tommy's 23rd.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, we won't we don't need to go through all of them here, but that's awesome, dude. Like, I am super excited for you. When's the grand final tournament?
So the Atlanta tournament is November 16th to 19th. So basically Thursday to Sunday.
November 16th to 19th, so almost exactly a month away.
Almost exactly a month away.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to be going to Atlanta on the 15th and flying back on the 20th. So basically, like one day before and one day after, so that there's like plenty of time to
Just
figure stuff out.
Relax and chill. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of that, to be honest, but like just
Or
because
whatever.
it
Yeah.
takes quite a while to get there, and
Also, they're 3 hours ahead, so there's a little bit of a time thing, you know.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah, exactly. And then I actually also will be going to the Pacific Northwest Masters. Actually, we can take a quick look at that too if you want.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Can you send me
link.
a link? Yeah, that'd be great. John says, so between those tournaments, are you allowed to play different armies, or do you have to play the same list?
So GW hasn't like given me the full
package
like intro yet, so I can't answer that question. I also don't know if I would even be allowed to answer that question had I known that information. So I'm not sure, unfortunately.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm going to bring spoilers. I'm bringing the same list anyway.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean, and nothing's going to change ostensibly in the time period, obviously. The tournaments are not connected. They basically, GW just hands out golden tickets to certain tournaments, and then if you win them, you get certain things. And I don't know if you can talk about that. I don't even know enough to talk about it. But yeah. Okay, Pacific Northwest Masters. Pacific Northwest Masters, though, you can talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah. Whoops. So Pacific Northwest Masters is basically like Seattle, Oregon, and British Columbia. And it's just all of the players from there. I guess technically Idaho too. All the players from there are like frequently going to tournaments together. So you have like Sparkle Party, you've got Kippers, you've got Cake or Death, you've got the Tacoma Open, you've got Emerald City Open. There's tons of tournaments, and all of those are tracked specifically in here. And each player is associated with a territory. So like up in British Columbia and Canada, we're north. And then if you're in the Seattle area, you'd be west. If you're in like kind of like Spokane or Idaho, you'd be east. And then if you're in Oregon, you'd be south.
Cool.
And so all of the results from that have now been compiled. And we have like a final ranking. And basically what happens is they take the top 3 people from each territory.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it. I guess.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
They take the top 3 people from each territory, and they send invites to them. And then they take the remaining top 12 people from all territories and invite those too. So basically you have a tournament of 24 people who like that's that year in the Pacific Northwest. And that tournament is like literally, it ends 72 hours before I have to step on a plane to Atlanta for the Games Workshop tournament. It's the Remembrance Day weekend. And originally I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I've decided I'm going to go.
72 hours. Jeez.
Yeah, it's going to be like the most Warhammer dedicated week of my life probably.
Whoa.
But it's going to be fun.
Dang, dude, that's crazy.
So probably what'll happen is I'll go to the Pacific Northwest Masters tournament, check back in on the channel on Tuesday, and then after Tuesday I'll fly out to Atlanta, do the World Championships all the way until the following Monday, and then check back in about that on the Tuesday as well, following. So it's gonna be busy.
Jeez. What up, Darren? Thanks for joining us, man. Carson was just thanking you for beating. Who did he beat?
Making
the sort of the tie, the minor victory, right? Yeah. Which is amazing because that guy also technically went like he's a 5-0.
Yes. Yep.
Guy.
And
yeah.
he won best general because I took best overall.
Right. Wow. Okay. So you're number 1 for Pacific Northwest Masters. It looks like. Yeah.
Yep. After me is Matthias, and after him is Dale. So basically, we're
Oh, man. Jeez, you guys, that's crazy.
Yeah. Kipper's really like, I mean, this was already the case before we entered Kipper's, but this really solidified it. And then below us, we've got like
Matt
a lot
Beasley?
of our friends down south. Matt Beasley,
friend of the channel.
Jeremy Lemoy.
Nice.
Ricky Fisher's in there.
Wow.
Jeremy Lemoy and Ricky Fisher are also going to the World Championships because they won Best General and
cool.
Best Overall at the U.S. Open Tacoma. So I'll see them there.
Nice. Ricky Fisher's there too. That's cool. He's number 8. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's going to be, it's going to be a fun tournament.
Well, Alex is there, number 10.
Yeah, so there were 6 people who got an invite from Warp Dice.
Okay.
There's me, Matthias, Dale, Alex, Eric, and now Will Reeves, who is part of the club.
Wow. 6 people out of 24.
Yep.
A full quarter of the people.
Yep. Dimensional Cascade, I think, has 7, so they're also like a quarter, essentially.
Beat us. Yeah. It was close. They're a great club, though. Really great club. So, very strong players. Wow.
And speaking of clubs,
yeah,
actually, I have another link to send you.
I was hoping you were gonna pull up like an actual club and
get a smash the
yeah, just do something. I don't know, a meat club perhaps.
Indeed.
Are you
2 things to send you?
Okay. I'm gonna wait until so it doesn't ding for everyone at home.
First one and then second one.
By the way, John, did we answer your question properly? There was. I want to make sure we answered you properly.
Do the first one first.
Okay. I will. I keep closing Facebook down just so I don't. Okay. So the one that's up, the Best Coast Pairings one.
Yep.
Okay.
That should be the team rankings of the world.
It is. Boop, boop.
And if you look right there, number 8.
Warp Dice. All right.
Out of just about 1,200 teams worldwide.
Damn,
we are
really?
now number 8
Number
in the world.
8. Heck yeah.
It's pretty
man.
crazy. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man.
Excited about that. And then most importantly, the second link.
Okay. I don't know about the most, I kind of feel like that one is, no, this one's cooler. Carson, back on top.
Back. This tournament got me back to my first place and for Ogre Montribes.
Wow. So for this, do they only count 4 of them?
Yeah.
So it's like your 4 best events.
Yeah.
I see. So that way someone who just doesn't fly around and plays in everything and gets not great will still be the number 1 Ogre player. Got it. I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Carson's number 1, baby. Wait, can people see this? Barely. I didn't scroll down very much. I wanted to make sure you could see that it said Ogre Maw Tribes, right? Team Canada. Yeah, hopefully. I feel like with your sort of run this year, you're hopefully a top contender for Team Canada.
I think Team Canada's already picked for 2024, but
oh really?
Maybe the next year. Who knows? But I will be representing Canada at the World Championships singles event
in November.
Yeah, they do actually they associate you with your country.
Oh, neat.
And it's yeah. So.
And you're the only Canadian, right?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
But
hopefully not.
yeah, that'd be nice to see.
Yeah.
One other, but yeah.
Maybe there's someone from Ontario that we don't really know. I'm surprised none of the Season of War guys got on. They're really into the tournament scene. Dang, dude, that is crazy. Yeah, number 1 Ogre player, still the number 1. Are you still the number 2 player for Warhammer as well?
That was for the last Battle School, so that's just forever.
Oh, what? Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yo, Sean, what's up, man? I was just saying nice things about you to Carson earlier. Sean was also in at Kipper's playing some Sylvaneth. Yeah. His army's so nicely painted. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic. His water effects are really nice.
Yeah, and the weapons I really like too. Dang, dude, that's wild. Well, I think that's everything that we have planned for the show. Am I forgetting anything? I always have to ask this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks to everyone for joining us. That was really fun. Congrats again, Carson. It's super awesome. I hope you will all join me cheering Carson on. for the grand finals, whatever. What are they? What's the actual name of that?
I've just been calling it the World Championships.
That's what. That's what. Yeah, I've been calling it for.
Because it's not Worlds. That's a different event that's hosted.
Yeah.
In like Amsterdam or something, but
exactly. Yeah, World Championship in November in Atlanta. Sort of the end cap on the year. Yeah, so are they going to be streaming that, or we don't know yet? Probably.
I think so. Yeah, I think there's going to be.
Heck yeah!
At the very least, it's going to be like the top tables are being streamed. So,
dang man,
fingers crossed I make it there.
Fingers crossed, dude.
Because like every single person that makes it to this golden ticket event is someone who has won either best general or best overall. So everyone is like very good at the game already. Yeah. That's like the minimum baseline is that you're very good at the game. So it's going to be it'll be the hardest tournament I will have ever done for sure.
Absolutely, but it'll be really cool. Hopefully, like you said, because the competition's so tough. Even if you don't, if you don't win it or whatever, or whatever, it's still just like a huge honor to make it at all. Like you might be the only person from Canada, from our entire country. So, it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be back next week. We've got some more battle reports on the way, but in the meantime, we're going to be keeping this going every week, and there's plenty of battle reports in the bank. So yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. And anything before we go, Carson? Nope. Shakes the head. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.